Once upon a time, in a beautiful eastern kingdom called Emeraldburg, there ruled a king named Sultan Zorawar. The kingdom was prosperous, but the king was extremely greedy. His treasury was overflowing with diamonds and jewels, yet his appetite for more and more never ended. He kept imposing new taxes on his people to fill his coffers. In a small village of that kingdom lived an old woodcutter named Baba Rahim. Baba Rahim was poor, but kind-hearted. One day he was digging around the roots of a dead tree in the forest when his pick struck something hard and metallic. Clink went the sound. Curious, Baba Rahim brushed away the dirt and found a very large old brass cauldron buried there. The cauldron looked ordinary at first, but it was covered with strange, intricate engravings. He pulled the cauldron out. It was midday, and he was very hungry. He took the last bit of his stale bread from his bundle, and by accident, the bread slipped from his hand and fell into the cauldron. Baba Rahim bent down to pick it up, and was astonished to see not one piece of bread, but hundreds of fresh loaves filling the cauldron to the top. He dropped his old cap into the pot, and in the blink of an eye, the cauldron was filled with dozens of new caps. He realized, trembling with surprise, that this was no ordinary pot. It was a magic cauldron that multiplied whatever was put into it. Baba Rahim dragged the cauldron home. Because he was generous, he didn't use it for himself. He used it to help the villagers. He would put a single grain of grain into the cauldron and pull out a sack full, then distribute it among the poor. Soon there was no one hungry in the village. But as the saying goes, walls have ears. News of the magic cauldron spread, and it eventually reached the greedy king, Sultan Zorawar. A greedy gleam came into his eyes. He ordered his soldiers immediately. "Go, capture that woodcutter, and bring the cauldron to the court at once." The soldiers went and seized the cauldron. Baba Rahim begged before the king, "Your Majesty, this cauldron is meant to feed the poor. Don't use it to fill your treasury. Disaster will follow." The king laughed. "Silence, old man. The cauldron is now royal property." With that, he tossed Baba Rahim out of the palace. Left alone with the cauldron, the king decided to test it. He dropped a gold coin into the pot. In an instant, the cauldron filled with gold coins. The king went mad with joy. He emptied it and dropped the coin in again. The room soon overflowed with gold. But his greed was not satisfied. He thought, "I'm tired of emptying the cauldron again and again. Maybe there's a secret at the bottom that will make me ruler of the world." The cauldron was large. He placed a chair by its rim, climbed up, and leaned over to see inside, but his foot slipped, and he fell headfirst into the cauldron. That was the moment the cauldron did what it did best. Moments later, one Sultan Zorawar climbed out of the pot, then another, and another. The cauldron kept producing more and more kings. The room filled with kings, all claiming, "I am the real king." They all looked exactly alike, and were just as greedy and cruel as the original. One shouted, "Seize him! I am the king!" Another shouted, "No, you're an imposter! I'm the king!" A fight broke out in the palace. Hundreds of identical kings attacked one another. In the chaos, the heavy cauldron fell and smashed into pieces. When the cauldron broke, the magic stopped. By then, the palace and the rulers were exhausted and battered. It became impossible to tell who the true king was. The people and the ministers, horrified by the spectacle, drove all the maddened, fighting kings out of the palace. Thus, greed had not only taken the king's throne, but had erased him altogether. Baba Rahim and the villagers returned to their simple lives. From then on, they would say, "Greed is a fire that burns the one who feeds it to ashes."